are talking about The Nice Daddy. Um, Again, from the book Creative Aggression. I really recommend that book if you want to understand the dynamics and the interpersonal dynamics, um, specifically if you want to know about assertiveness, lack of assertiveness, aggressiveness, and all these things. It's complete. Now, this is a very old edition. I think it was the first edition. So maybe a recent one might be better. Um, but this is the first edition, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, let's go to the point. The Nice Daddy, page 5. I will read it and you guys will let me know. Let me see. It's quite long. Maybe not too long. I don't know. So I will read The Nice Daddy. So the first part is kind of like a quick description of what the nice daddy is. Then they will talk about it. The authors talk about the personality underneath the nice daddy. So first they talk about the image. Um, After that they will tackle the personality underneath, and then they will talk about the reward. So why they use that mask, why they use that niceness, and the price. What does it cost them, and what is the impact on other people? All right, so let me read it. All right, okay. Nice daddy is a soft touch. He can always be persuaded to say yes after mother has said no. He never screams or yells because he has said many times all he wants is peace. Like when I sorry to interrupt, but when I think about these things and how this book describes family dynamics, interpersonal dynamics, and it's just fascinating to me, how accurate it is sometimes, what I've noticed in other families, what I have lived in my family. And this may not be the reality of everybody, but I'm sure there will be something in this book that accurately describes one particular experience. Anyways, let me go back to it. So, we were at, he never screams or yells because as he has said many times, all he wants is peace. He finds it behind the newspaper or in front of the television set. He lets mother do the disciplining of the children. Wait, my throat's kind of hurting. Let me get some water. Okay. We're ready. When the kids bring home bad grades from school, Nice Daddy says something like, try harder, or don't show it to your mother. The kids feel sorry for him because mother bosses him around. The only times they really get upset at Nice Daddy is when he forgets one of their names, mixes up their names, or forgets how old they are. The personality underneath. Nice Daddy is passive and detached. He got married and had children because it was a thing socially acceptable men were supposed to do. Socially acceptable men were supposed to do. But basically, he is just going through the motions. Nice Daddy is afraid of feelings, his own and those of others. He's also afraid of losing control. His own upbringing was repressive and he was not permitted to raise his voice or talk back. He learned to control aggressive feelings by withdrawing. He becomes very threatened by angry feelings because he doesn't know what to do with his own. And he is afraid of what he might do if he let go. He worries about what people think of him, even though he doesn't let anybody get very close. The reward: the nice daddy can avoid taking responsibility for the things that go wrong in the family environment. He makes others seem to be the villains, because he's always so nice with his live and let live philosophy. He also spares himself considerable amounts of wear and tear as he manages to stay above the fray. Is that the way you pronounce this word? Fray? Anyways. His style serves him well, particularly in terms of retaining his image of self control, fairness, and niceness. The price: Nice Daddy expresses his aggression by not getting involved. He starves his wife emotionally. He forces her into the role of a bitch, and he comes out smelling like a rose. Since he's not, but okay, let me just keep reading. His lack of support when she disciplines the children undermines his wife's authority. By being nice when the kids do poorly in school or misbehave, he indirectly demonstrates a lack of concern. He fails to provide his children motivation or standards to strive for. They learn that it doesn't really matter to him if they succeed or fail. This is particularly hurtful to his sons because his shadowy, passive nature prevents them from making a strong masculine identification. His even tempered behavior eventually becomes irritating and boring. It's really his indirectly aggressive way of saying to those around him, "You don't exist, and I can't be bothered." So, is that your dad? Is that you? um, it is. It's such a good thing to destroy that image of niceness. It's not a bad. It may feel bad at first, but it's actually freeing. When you understand that you don't, that niceness is a mask. You will find better ways to show up in a real way where people can also be themselves and have better relationships in general. And it removes the pressure of keeping everything so nice, so I don't know, I still struggle with that a lot. It's weird because when I was a teenager, I was pretty ruthless. I'm telling you what I think. Of course, that would depend on certain people, but in general, I was very outspoken. And at school, they did not necessarily perceive me as a nice girl. I wasn't a mean girl, but I was not necessarily the nice girl because I would fight back and I would say what I think and I would be mad and I just would talk, just speak my mind. But then at some point, I started to kind of deem that part of me, kind of hide it because I needed to, I guess I felt the need to fit in at some point, especially by changing environments where I was no longer, I didn't feel confident. I didn't know this place. I didn't know these people. I didn't know what was coming at me. I didn't know what I was going to have to confront. So it really affected the way I interacted with people. I had that in me. I I would refrain from being real with certain people because of the relationship, like certain family members and stuff like that. But in general, anyways, you get the point. But at the same time too, in my family, for example, and the people related to my family in a very close way, um, always perceived me as a nice girl because I would refrain from saying anything that would make my family look bad. So whenever we were in social settings in encounters with other people, I had to maintain that facade of, I had to fight myself to not say certain things because that would upset my mom or my family. And it's also a very common saying to keep the dirty laundry private, right? It's dirty laundry, family dirty laundry. The family business should remain family business. And I partly disagree with that. I understand there are certain things you should not expose because, there is some kind of intimacy, privacy that we should respect. But I think this has a limit. It has a limit. It's not something that's pervasive. It shouldn't be something that covers all aspects of yourself, of your personality, etc. So, I guess it was very important to prevent any type of shame, because the social image of the family was very important. And after that, it became my image to maintain for myself because everybody would tell me that I am nice. I mean, my family and people that knew me for a very long time, that grew up with me, um, yeah, family, they would be like, hey, Benedict is nice. And they would tell me that a lot. You're so nice, and I think when people tell you this kind of things, you are nice, and that's what they appreciate you for, then you start wanting to maintain that identity that people appreciate about you because that's what they appreciate about you. It's the fact that you won't fight back. They will say something mean and you won't say nothing. They will be they will do bad things and you will not speak up. They like that. So they would, oh my God, yes, such a nice girl. So sometimes people would say that generally, she's such a nice person. But other times people would say that as a way to reinforce that identity on you so you remain that way. Um, and sometimes they don't even realize it, but because oftentimes people would come at me when I finally decide to say something that I do not like in a very respectful way. I'm not talking about disrespecting people or insulting them. I would say, hey, I don't appreciate this. Oh, you were such a nice girl before. I'm like, what? I'm being nice. The way I'm saying it is kind and respectful. So what do you mean? Anyways, to go back to the dad, if I don't know if that's you, or if that was your father, but if that is your father, identities are something that are very difficult to break away from, and I wonder if they ever really leave us completely. If we ever really detach 100%. I think there's a part of me that still wants to be perceived as good. Um, I have accepted the let's say the bad sides of myself, the flaws. I have accepted the not so positive sides of me. I've accepted um, my shortcomings, my shortcomings. Um, but I much prefer to be assertive now. I prefer to be assertive, not but, and I prefer to be assertive. I've accepted them. Sometimes there is an impulse to go back to that. Oh my God, like I'm nice. Okay, I'm nice. I mean no harm. But sometimes it's good to just whatever you. Yes, I mean harm if you keep on doing this. Okay. And it's not something when you understand that nobody is 100% nice, it's freeing too, because you're not weird, or you're not a bad person for having negative emotions. You're not a bad person for calling people out, or for saying things like you think them, even if they can be a little bit harsh. Um, because you just can't please everybody. You cannot. And when you do that, whatever you do, when you try to to pre to stop yourself from hurting, or causing harm in any way, it just ends up harming, but in another way, in a way that is silent, in a way that is confusing, because the the image says nice, but below that is a lack of involvement, a superficial connection, a superficial interaction, because I can't call that connection, a superficial interaction, um, and frustrations, etc. Like there's so much. Free yourself of that nice identity, okay? The identity of niceness, you know what I mean? So yeah, if you're that dad, know that your distance, you being so calm, keeping your composure at all times. Are you human? Nothing bothers you? You don't have something that kind of like gives you the ick? Is that the term? Yeah. You don't have any pet peeves? You don't have anything that bothers you? Are you real? Yeah. And if that's your dad, then I just hope that this brings comfort, so you understand the frustrations you've been having. Anyways, bye. This is long. 18 minutes.